Let's talk about Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Sonic & Knuckles. Originally planned as a singular game, Sonic 3 and Knuckles had to be divided due to the actual constraints at the time. Making a cartridge with that much memory would have cost Sega a lot of money to mass produce, so instead the idea was to make two separate games because it would be easier to create two separate cartridges, and money. Now, originally developed by Yuji Naka and the rest of Sonic team, Sonic 3 was originally planned as an isometric game. However, this idea was scrapped because, well, it's kinda dumb, and it didn't work really well with Sonic 3D Blast or Sonic Labyrinth because who remembers those games? Sonic 3 had a lot of marketing behind it. This is supposed to be a really big game, and it shows. If you look at Sonic 3 and Sonic & Knuckles, you'll notice that they have these really beautiful kind of 2.5D sprites. So there's a lot of color, there's a lot of texture, there's a lot to the sprites in the game, and it really shows in the presentation as well. Very vivid colors, beautiful soundtrack, which, oddly enough, in Sonic the Hedgehog 3, some of the songs sound like, Michael Jackson songs. And in 2005, we found out that, well, actually, that was true. Sega had brought in Michael Jackson to compose some of the music for Sonic 3, but, where people thought he was... So Sega kind of broke that off between them. However, you can see that those particular songs kind of still lie there within Sonic 3, and honestly there's 1,001 videos on YouTube talking about that, so let's not get into that. I'm just going to say that Sonic 3 probably is my favorite Sonic the Hedgehog soundtrack. It is amazing. So, Sonic 3. Beautiful game, but there's not a lot to it in terms of stages. It's actually very short, so it actually shows that there's a lot more to this game than what meets the eye. And then when you get your hands on Sonic & Knuckles, you see the rest of the product. So with the lock-on technology that you get in Sonic & Knuckles, it allows you to access the game data in Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and essentially just replaces all of the sprites that have to do with Sonic's face with Knuckles, and it's just Sonic 2 with Knuckles in it. It's very fun, it's very different to see how Knuckles plays in that kind of environment, and it was neat. And if you put Sonic the Hedgehog 1, you got this Blue Sphere game. The Blue Sphere game was pretty much a minigame version of what you got for the special stages, and there's so many different variations, and there's passwords you can find online, and it can be really fun after a while. The big thing of this whole kit and caboodle is what happens when you put Sonic 3 on top of Sonic & Knuckles. When that happens, the game achieves its perfect form and becomes Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles. Now, Sonic 3 and Knuckles essentially takes the entire game and makes it into one giant epic story with certain changes happening. So at the end of the launch base zone in Sonic 3, what happens is the Death Egg explodes, and then Tails and Sonic share a hug or something, and then credits. And then at the beginning of Sonic and Knuckles, Sonic just falls into the Mushroom Hill Zone and the Death Egg falls in the volcano. And then it just carries on with the story from there. The actual story is at the end of Sonic 2, the Death Egg crashes onto this floating island, which causes it to sink. Sonic decides to fly on it in his Super Saiyan form and gets the shit punched out of him by Knuckles, who then steals the Chaos Emeralds and scatters them across the island. Then you have to get the Chaos Emeralds, save the animals, Knuckles is a dick, and that's the story of Sonic 3. And then Sonic and Knuckles is the aftermath of Sonic 3. Death Egg crashes, he's trying to steal the Master Emerald that Knuckles is the guardian of. Wacky shenanigans happens. When the two games are connected together, you get all of the acts, all of the special stages, everything. And that's really cool, especially when you can see the contrast between the special stages you get in Sonic 3, which are they're simple for the most part, and then the special stages in Sonic and Knuckles, which were a little bit more difficult. Now, same as with Sonic 2, if you get all the Chaos Emeralds, Sonic goes Super Saiyan, and Knuckles goes Super Knuckles. So yeah, you get Super Sonic and Super Knuckles. Tails, if he gets all the Chaos Emeralds, he gets a fucking prize. Boom, whatever, nobody cares. However, when you lock Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles together, when you get all the Chaos Emeralds in Sonic 3, when you go to the beginning of the first act, you go into a little hidey hole, you jump on the thing with Knuckles, and boom, you're in the Hidden Palace Zone, and now you have to jump in and get the Super Emerald. So you lose the ability to become Super Sonic until you get them all again, and then Sonic becomes the Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Sonic! He becomes Hyper Sonic, so when he turns into all the different colors of the emeralds, if he does his jump attack, it destroys everything on stage, and it looks really cool. Same happens with Knuckles. If he gets all the Chaos Emeralds, he becomes Hyper Knuckles, he gets faster. When he jumps off a wall or glides into a wall, it creates the entire shaking earthquake that kills everybody, and then if Tails gets all the Super Emeralds, he turns into Super Tails, where he's invincible and he has these little birds that fly around him and kill everything. In fact, Super Tails pretty much just breaks the fucking game in a way that Hyper Sonic and Hyper Knuckles could not at all. The biggest changes with Sonic 3 going from Sonic 2 is the shield. So in Sonic 2 you just had the standard ring shield, but in Sonic and Knuckles and Sonic 3, or Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles, god, the game is a mouthful. You get the fire shield, which makes you invulnerable to fire and gives you the fire dash. You get the electric shield, which gives you a double jump, magnetizes rings to you, and makes you invulnerable to electric attacks. And then the water shield, which allows you to breathe underwater and lets you bounce real high. It was a kind of a neat little thing that they did, although if Knuckles or Tails gets those shields, they still have the regular stuff. They don't get anything special, because fuck them. Sonic also had a new insta-shield, so if you jumped and then pressed the jump button again, Sonic would get a little energy shield that would come up very quickly, which was really good for getting an extra attack in when you're fighting a boss, or giving yourself some temporary protection when you're dealing with a, really difficult enemy. Do difficult enemies even exist in Sonic games? The overall scope and feel of Sonic 3 and Knuckles is fantastic. You get a real sense of an actual narrative going on here, no matter who you play as. And you get a different look at what's going on through Sonic and Knuckles' eyes if you choose Sonic or if you choose Knuckles. And if you choose Tails, he just goes with Sonic's story because he is a lonely boy that's just following a man who's going to turn out to be an asshole in the end, and then he's just a poor, terrible role model. And then Tails ends up growing up living on the streets, and he's just doing drugs and trying to make ends meet, and then he meets up with Sonic for an AA meeting, and then they get back together, and then they create Sonic Boom. Sonic 3 and Knuckles is the best Sonic game in my opinion. This offers us a lot more in terms of characters to play as, variety in terms of stages, and 14 special zones, 2 transformations, and a beautiful soundtrack to boot. Sonic 3 and Knuckles is a beautiful example of how you can make a proper Sonic game without giving us too much. Because a lot of the Sonic games, especially the modern ones, just focus on giving us more stuff instead of just focusing on fun, exciting gameplay. It doesn't need a lot of mechanics, it doesn't need a lot of friends, it doesn't need a lot of unnecessary storyline. He's got a comic book for that. That comic has been going on forever. Let's not forget a whole bunch of different cartoon shows and Sonic Boom. This is why I drink. Hey guys, thanks for watching. This is the first Let's Talking About I have done in a very long time, and I'm really excited we got to share this beautiful little moment with you. Now, of course, if you want to see more of our Let's Talking About series, you should click the links in our description. Plus, we also have exposition if you're looking for short little summaries of really good comic series. And of course, and as always, feel free to watch our new top 10s. Oh, and support Cartridge Club. They're also in the description as well. They're a super cool website and a really great community, and they have a Patreon. And I gotta go. Bye-bye. Stay tuned.